Yes, hello, and welcome to our next installment in our series of programs on playing card games, Solitaire. We got an item from one of our Prime subscribers, all the way from Batavia. Batavia writes in, "Hey, card guy, how about playing a little game that I learned from my mother?" Go pack go forever at AOL. The card guy shall grant your wish. The name of today's game is called Down the Stairs. It is a lot of fun. What do you say? We give it a try. Okay, well, let's begin with a quick overview of our deck. Now, of course, this is a single pack game, so we'll be using a 52 card pack. As you know, 2 colors within the pack, red and black, 4 suits. You know them well, 13 ranks per suit, all the way ace through king. Now, of course, begin with shuffling these cards thoroughly. We do recommend that you go ahead and reshuffle them 7 times to achieve maximum randomness. That way the deck is truly randomized, ready for an exciting game. So get it done 7 times, and then let's talk about the layout of our game called Down the Stairs. So we're going to begin, of course, with a nice clean surface and begin very simply with dealing out 7 cards in a row. Now then, your job is to find the kings, reveal all 4 kings and build them down, but you can do so in any suit. So it can look something like this with the king of spades and the queen of diamonds. Any suit you like, just provided the ranks go from king all the way to ace, do it 4 times. Now in your hand you'll have a stock of cards. You can deal them 1 at a time, but they only can go into empty spaces. So your job is to make empty spaces. How do you do it? You move a card onto a higher rank. It's that simple. Here's an example for you. Put that queen on the king, okay? Queen is lower than king, do so. What about the 4 on the 10? Even though there's a big gap between the 4 and the 10, it's lower ranked than the 10, do so. Now you have spaces available where you can deal cards from the stock, get through the entire stock, and get all those cards organized. Now only the top cards are in play, so you need to be strategic. 4 king runs at the end means you've won the game. What do you say we give it a try for real? Okay, well, let's begin with a nice clean surface and a well shuffled pack, and we will deal out our initial 7 cards in a row, just like this. Now our first job is to make space, because we can't deal a card unless we have a space to put it in. Now remember, a lower card simply goes onto a higher card, so let's move that 10 onto the jack. How about that 5? We'll put that right onto the 7. And then maybe that 6 can go on the 7 as well. We've created 3 spaces. Let's deal out cards from our stock and fill those positions. Okay, now then, what are we dealing with now? Why don't we take that 6 and place it on the 9, and then we can move that 5 onto the 6 as well. We're creating these runs, even though there's gaps between those numbers, that's okay, as long as the number you deal and place is on a higher rank. 8 on the 10, that helps us. 3 onto the 6 is a good move. Now let's deal from the pack, and we can fill those empty positions. Okay, how about that 2? Let's try it on the 3, and then let's try the 5 on the 8, making spaces and deal from the pack. Okay, now the 8 and the 3 here, how does this help us? Why don't we try putting that 3 onto the 5, and then we're going to go ahead and move that 5 onto the 8, creating 2 empty spots. We'll put in the first king foundation. That's good news for us. 1 of 4 has been found. Now then, what about that 4? Let's put that 4 on the 5, making a space, and we'll deal out a 3. What's back? We'll probably put the 3 onto the 5. We can put the 6 from the pack. Got to make space here. So sometimes when you're stuck, you have to do an unwind. You built a run, now it's time to unwind it to get to a certain card and reorder things. And the unwinding takes some practice. We're going to spend some time on that today, practicing the unwind. Now we've been able to move that 6 to the 8, and we've created an empty space, which is very helpful for us. We'll go ahead and continue that run on the far left, And now we've got some room to deal from our stockpile. So let's put a card in that empty position. Oh good, a queen. That's just what we need to really begin that king run. Now we got to unwind that jack. That's going to take some doing. We've got a lot of cards built on the jack. So let's just move cards onto higher ranked cards, put the jack on the queen where it belongs, put that 8 temporarily and move to 10. Now that one bears repeating. Shall we rewind the unwind? Let's do it. Take a look at this one again. We need to get to that jack, so put the 3 on the 5, put the 5 on the 7, put the 8 on the queen. Now put the 10 into the empty, move the 8 onto the 10, the jack is free to go to the queen. 8 goes in the temporary position, 10 moves over, and then we can move a 9 or an 8 onto that later. So now we need to unwind the 9 run. Let's see if we can apply what we've learned and do it again. Now the 9 goes on the 10, and then you can follow it up with the 8. You're going to see that this sort of unwinding and rewinding and building of runs becomes somewhat hypnotic. It's kind of like a dance, and it takes a little bit of practice, so don't be intimidated if you get stumped. But that king run, I must say, is looking pretty respectable. We're just 1 card away. So let's deal some cards from our pack and see if we can get through this stockpile and find our next king. Put that jack on the queen, put the 3 on the jack. Oh, there's our next king. This is good. This is good news, but that queen appears to be trapped. We need to get that jack into a different position and get that queen revealed. How do we do that? We're going to have to unwind that 7 run. So let's put the 3 on the king, put the 5 on the jack, put the 7 on the jack. Now go ahead and put those cards, they sort of cascade right back on top of each other. Shall we rewind it? Take one more look. Again, this really does bear repeating. Let's take one more look at this. So once those cards go, it's sort of a cascading effect where they're placed onto higher ranks and then they consolidate, and that frees the jack, frees the queen, and then you put the jack on top. Take some practice, but it is a skill you must master if you wish to conquer down the stairs. 9 goes on to the 10. We may have to unwind that 8 run. So let's put the 3 on the queen temporarily. Put the 5 in the empty position. Shall I put the 6 there? That may not make the most sense. Maybe the 3 on the 5. There we go. That allows the 8 to go right on the 9. That's better. Now we really need to get that 7 involved, so let's be thoughtful. Let's unwind that 7. The 3 there, the 5. Now the 7 can go on the 8. Move the 5 over temporarily, play the 6, and follow along with the 5. Hopefully you're getting the hang of this. It took me a little practice, but it becomes second nature as long as you're always making spaces for yourself and you give yourself some options. So let's create some space so that we can deal from our stock. We want to empty that in order to win. Now we've got a position here. Oh, another king foundation. That is good news for us, and we just completed our very first run. This is good news for us. We are making some headway. Now the queen and the jack can go in our 3rd king run. Oh, and look at this. The 4th king has made an appearance. So now we need to build up that 4th king. So we need some space. So let's unwind something here to create a position. Now we can get that 9 involved. What's the best next step for us? We want that 9 involved. We may need to unwind that 7. So move the 3 off temporarily and the 5. Put the 7 on the 9 where it belongs and follow it with the 5 and the 3. Now we've got a position. Now we can deal a jack. It takes some time to get through the stock, but it is a must. Put the 3 on the jack and the 5. It's actually kind of hypnotic to watch it at this speed, is it not? We need to get that queen involved, but that jack is trapped. So we need to find room for that jack so the queen can take her position. So maybe we move it here and unwind the 9 run. So let's put the 3 here temporarily, 5 temporarily. We'll put the 6 on the jack, then the 5 and the 3 can follow. Then we do the same with the 7. And now the 9 can go. See how we've done that? The ebbs and the flows of these cards I find is just so interesting. 5 can go on the 3, and then we can put the 6 there temporarily. But we need to get that removed to make room for jack. How do we make room for jack? We're going to put the 6 in the empty position. Has that done it? We still need to get the jack completely removed to allow that queen to sit on the king. So let's try this again. We'll try putting it this way. This makes more sense. Now the jack can take the empty position, then the queen, then the jack. It takes a little doing, but you can see it always can be done. That's what's interesting about Down the Stairs, is that every game can be won as long as you are strategic. And we've just completed our 2nd king run. This is good news. We'll deal out a couple more cards. replace the 8 on the 9, we've got an empty slot for something new. And there's an ace. Let's place that on the 2, and then we'll deal a 10. 10 goes nicely on the jack. I like how we're building that, that third king run here. I'd like to get that 9 and the 8 involved. This may be the long way around to do what I'm suggesting, but let's try it. Those cards can go there. I probably should have just put the 8 on the empty spot instead of creating another run over there. Let's try this. I am taking the long way around. I am taking the back stairs here. And not the most direct route, but this is fine. As you're going to see here, there's lots of flexibility in this game because the only rule is you place the top card on something that is greater. And if you follow that rule, you will succeed. Now the 9 and the 8 are properly arranged, and we can deal out 2 new cards. The 8 and the 4. I'd love to get that 7 run. We're missing a 10 and an 8 over there. We need to get that 9 move to make room for a 10 and its kind of partner in crime, the number 8 there. So maybe the 2 can go on to the 3, the 5 can move up to the 8, followed by the 4. This gives me some room to shuffle some cards and unwind some runs here. 6, 5, 4, I like that. Does that help me? I really need to get that 9 off the jack to make room for a 10. So why don't we try shuffling this way? I guess I could put the 6 on the 9 and give myself an empty position. That way I can throw another card into the mix. Maybe the ace on the 2 is helpful. We're missing the 7 through the 4, so we've still got some wood to chop there. Let's think about this. We may need to unwind that and make room for a 7. Got a position empty. That helps us. We need a 7. There's that 10. You know that 10 belongs on the jack of hearts. We need to find a way to cycle the cards to get there. Got to move that 6 and the 9 out of the way. We may have to unwind a run in order to get there. So why don't we try the 6 on the 8, ace on the 9. I like that better on the 2. You'll forgive me, I'm actually thinking to myself as I'm going through this, but maybe the 9 can go on the 10. Got to get that jack and the 10 to unite, and we have to move some cards around to do it. Maybe the 6 goes this way. We may have to unwind that 7 first. I wonder if that makes more sense. If I were to put the ace, and then the 2, and then the 3, and then follow up with the 2 and the ace. Okay, now the 4 can move. And maybe the 4 goes on to the 8, and then maybe the 5 moves over on the jack. Then the 4 on the 5. See, now the 7 is free to join the 8. That's a nice clean run. We've solved that problem. It's kind of like a little puzzle. Now we need to get that 6 involved. But the 6 is buried with 3 cards. So let's get the ace out of the way. Let's get that 2 out of the way. Let's get the 3 out of the way. And then follow up with the 2 and the ace. Do you see that? Now the 6 can jump. And you can put on the 5 and then the 4. Now let's move the ace over temporarily. 2 temporarily. 3 and 2. And 1. Oh boy, allow the card guy to take a breath here. That took some doing. But it can be done, and you can do it too. So let's keep at it. We have 3 runs complete, and we've only got 1 left. So move the 9 temporarily, put the 8 temporarily. I wonder if the 10 should hop over. Well, it is already on its own. It probably doesn't help us do it this way. That allows the 10 on the jack. Move the 8 temporarily, move the 9, and then the 8. We are getting there. Let's unwind that 7. There goes the 1 and the 2. Put the 3 over temporarily, followed by the 1 and the 2 and the ace. Do you see the ebbing and the flowing here? I think this is just so fascinating to watch. Put the 2 there, and then the 2 over there with the ace. And I guess we should move the 5 and the ace, 2 on the 6, and then the 4, and then the 3. Move the 1 over temporarily, then the 2, then the 6, and the ace on the 2 and the 7. Followed by the 6, and now we can continue our run here. 2 on the ace, put the 3 temporarily, move the ace over to the 6, 2 on the 3, 1 on the 2, 4 temporarily, then the 5, then the 4. Do you see what we're doing? Do you sense it? Here comes the 2, then the 3 goes on the 4 where it belongs, and then the 2, and then the 1. The 4 king runs say we have won the game of Down the Stairs. Can you believe it? I can believe it. And I think this game is just so great to learn to master. It's a very cool skill to have at your disposal to cycle cards and get them organized the way that you want. So, to our friends from Batavia, Go Pack Go Forever. Thank you so much for suggesting this game. I'm so glad I learned it. I'm so glad that we learned to conquer it together. It's a super game. And oh, be sure to join us again next time.